The untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing game's been missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, we got some breaking news. I was over here patrolling the mean streets of BoxingScene.com. Shout out to the fine folks at Boxing Scene. We got some breaking news, some interesting news that I wanted to talk about. I thought it was worth making a video about. But breaking news: Regis Prograis is going to be facing Ivan Redkach on the Jake Paul Ben Askren undercard April 17th on Trilla. So interesting stuff. Trilla has been the discussion of boxing recently with the recent surprising win in the purse bid to secure the rights for Teofimo Lopez and George Kambosos. They paid $6 million plus for that fight. Over $6 million for that fight. So they made a splash in that regard with boxing. They made a splash even before that with Jake Paul versus Nate Robinson and Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr. And now they're making some more waves. And you gotta give them credit. The fine folks at Trilla, they're doing a good job of attracting all audiences. From people who just want to see spectacles like Jake Paul versus Nate Robinson or Jake Paul versus Ben Askren, to your hardcore boxing fans like myself and people who watch this channel. With fights like Mike Tyson and Roy Jones, and now most importantly, Regis Prograis versus Ivan Redkach. Now let's talk about this fight between Regis Prograis and Ivan Redkach. For Prograis, this will be his first fight since since October, when he fought on the Gervonta Davis Leo Santa Cruz undercard. He fought Juan Heraldez and had a brilliant showing there. When we talk about Regis Prograis, we're still talking about one of the best 140 pounders in the whole sport of boxing. We're talking about a man that deserves nothing but respect. He is the fighting pride of New Orleans, Louisiana. He is Royal Guru. He is Regis Prograis. This is a guy that fought Josh Taylor, who, in my humble opinion, and from my perspective, I think Josh Taylor right now is the best 140 pounder in the world, and I believe he's gonna prove it against Jose Ramirez when they fight. And he fought him tooth and nail and had a really good showing against him. And who knows, man, if that fight was in America, I think he might have got a decision, but it was a close fight, and it was an effort that was definitely worth some applause and some respect. Now, when we talk about Ivan Redkach, this is a guy that, he's been used as an opponent for a couple of fighters, most notably and most recently to Danny Garcia. That was last January. That was the last time I remember seeing him in the ring. I believe that was his last fight. He's had that 6th round knockout against Devin Alexander back in June of 2019. And these two guys have one thing in common. Both Regis Prograis and Ivan Redkach both have the same thing in common. And that's the fact that both of these guys, for better, worse, or indifferent, are both chasing a fight with Adrien Broner. Now, boxing's in a really messed up place when people are chasing an Adrien Broner fight, because Adrien Broner, in terms of what he is as a fighter right now, really is nothing elite. That's just being honest. He debatably lost to Santiago his last fight, who was a guy that was brought in for him to look good against, and he looked like trash. So, these two guys are going to fight each other. Obviously, you favor Regis Prograis. He's the younger fighter, slightly younger, 32 years old, to Redkach, 34 years old. But Prograis, just when we talk about who he is in that boxing ring, he's one of the best 140 pounders in the world. And if you're not on that level, you will get found out. And Ivan Redkach is a guy that has made an interesting name for himself in recent times. Securing a high profile fight against Danny Garcia, biting him on his ear. He had a Devin Alexander knockout back in 2019. He had the sparring beef with Gervonta Davis that we talked about here on True School Sports, at length. So Redkach's a guy that's in the news a lot. He's, despite the fact that he's not an upper echelon welterweight, his name seems to get in the news more than it should. And I would be led to believe that he's gonna come in here and he's gonna have his best. He's gonna turn in his best or be the best version of himself, because he wants that Broner fight. His name was being linked in the early preliminary discussions for Broner's comeback opponent. It fell through. Then it was supposed to be Pedro Campa. That fell through, and then he was passed up again when they picked Santiago, Giovanni Santiago. So that's what it is, man. Breaking news: Regis Prograis, he's here. As far as, for those of you wondering if this fight will be on the same card with Teofimo Lopez and George Kambosos. It will not. Trilla has already came out ahead and said that Teofimo Lopez will be fighting George Kambosos on a separate card in May. So we'll be keeping our eyes out for that. Also, it's also worth noting on that Triller card as well, aside from Jake Paul and Ben Askren, and aside from Regis Prograis and Ivan Redkach, you'll also be getting Antonio Tarver. Yes, that Antonio Tarver, the Magic Man Antonio Tarver. He'll be taking on Frank Mir, the former UFC star. So you can call it a circus, you can call it, a spectacle, call it whatever you want. But I think Triller, as crazy as it sounds, Triller and the fine folks over there, what they're doing right now is what boxing has failed to do for a long time, which is reach different audiences. You got Jake Paul, like I mentioned earlier. You got Jake Paul, who's got a massive fan base, which mostly consists of young kids who watch YouTube videos, which is what boxing needs. Boxing needs a younger audience, whether you like it or not. So that's a win there for boxing. You talk about the hardcore boxing fans, people like myself, and people that watch this channel. We're gonna tune in because we like Regis Prograis. We like watching him fight, and he's worth tuning in to watch. So we're gonna watch and tune in, and we know who Ivan Redkach is. And then you're talking about getting the MMA fans involved, with the Frank Mir Tarver fight. So is it the best for the integrity of the sport? That's always gonna be debatable. But this format wouldn't exist. This type of thing wouldn't happen if boxing was more structured in the first place. So we shouldn't really blame Triller for taking advantage of the infrastructure that boxing has had in place for years. But anyway, I don't want to ramble too long. That is the news. Rougarou, Regis Prograis will be taking on the Ivan Redkach on the Jake Paul undercard. So that's my opinion on the matter. As Regis Prograis, now he's with PBC, now he's with Al Heyman. Supreme shout out to Al Heyman. Thank you, Al Heyman. Make sure you guys thank Al Heyman before you do anything else today. And PBC, Regis Prograis. Let's see how he continues to move within his career, because he's getting, this is his second consecutive pay-per-view card that he's fighting on, and this one is even bigger than the last one, and the last one was big with Leo Santa Cruz and Gervonta Davis. So just shout out to him and all the fine folks over there in Louisiana, New Orleans Boxing Club. Shout out to my main man Chase Dixon, all you guys out there, Quincy Lavalas, everybody. But yeah, leave your comments down below. Take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys.